As Sunbeam drifts into the 1990s, the kitchen changes again. But this time it isn't so much about color, and it isn't about convenience. It's about aspiration. For nearly a century, the Sunbeam Mixmaster has been one of the most recognizable machines in the American kitchen. Millions were made, in dozens of models, across several decades. Many were wedding gifts. Some came from your grandmother's kitchen. Yours may have come from your mom. But whether your Mixmaster is a flea market find or a fully restored treasure from AuntieNin.com, this series will help you figure out exactly what you have. Because every Mixmaster has a story. For decades, the Mixmaster followed the kitchen wherever it went, from necessity to convenience to coordination. It adapted, sometimes better than others, but it kept up. Now the kitchen is headed somewhere new. You start to see a different kind of space. Cleaner, quieter, more intentional, less about matching colors and more about materials, texture, and feel. And more than anything, more about what the kitchen represents. Because this is the moment when cooking becomes something you aspire to. You've got Ina Garten, you've got Nigella Lawson, you've got the rise of the Food Network. And suddenly, the kitchen isn't just where meals happen, it's where you imagine yourself being. It's about the kind of cook you want to be, the kind of home you want to have, the kind of life you want to live. And in that kind of kitchen, what sits on the counter matters, not just because it works, but because of what it says. Over here, you've got KitchenAid. Still metal, still heavy, still made in the United States. And that lands, because in a world that's becoming more intentional, that kind of consistency means something. And still sitting in a few of those kitchens is Sunbeam. Not gone, not broken, still doing the job, just not the thing people are reaching for anymore. You never saw Sunbeam on the Food Network. You never saw a Mixmaster in any of those kitchens. Not because it couldn't get the job done, but because it didn't represent the idea anymore. It simply wasn't aspirational. And in this era, that matters. Sunbeam, by this point, had spent years drifting, trying different ideas, trying different directions. And now, just as the market settles into something crystal clear, they're not positioned for it. So they do what a lot of companies do in that moment. They try to go back. Back to the look, back to the name, back to the memory, the heritage models. And on the surface, it makes sense. They look familiar. They look like what you remember. But bringing back the shape isn't the same as bringing back what made it matter. You can recreate the silhouette, but you can't recreate the position. Because while Sunbeam is trying to remember, KitchenAid is becoming the mixer. More visible, more available than ever, and perfectly aligned with that aspirational kitchen. And that's when Sunbeam's board of directors decides they can't drift their way out of this. Something has to change. So they bring in a man with a reputation, Albert J. Dunlap. On Wall Street, he's known as Chainsaw Al, and he earns that name immediately. He comes in, he cuts costs, divisions, headcounts, cuts whatever it takes to make the numbers move. And they moved. It worked. The company got smaller, leaner. The numbers improved. From outside, it looks like a turnaround, until it doesn't. Because what's underneath it isn't holding. Sales got padded, assets got moved around, and the books started to look better than the business actually was. And sooner or later, that caught up. Investigations, restatements, everything gets pulled apart. And the man who came in to fix the company is suddenly the story. He didn't just cut costs. He cooked the books and baked the bank statements, and eventually got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Not as a turnaround artist, but as a felon. And by that point, the story's already over. Not because of one bad decision, not because of one failed machine, but because the thing that made the Mixmaster matter had already slipped away. They didn't stop making Mixmasters, they just stopped making them with integrity.